Hey everyone, TimaeuSS. Welcome to another NIKKE video. Oh my goodness, I'm back from my vacation and I had a great time. However, I want to draw your attention to this notice right here from NIKKE, okay? And I think it's quite important that you do pay attention because you risk losing your account. If you read this, it says, notice, in order to reduce the pressure on the server, we'll gradually close guest registration on the Android platform starting November 26th. So a little bit of a background story. Essentially, when NIKKE opened, the game was extremely popular, right? Partly due to the advertisement success, and of course, we're all here for the plot. However, the game was so successful that Japan actually became one of the biggest servers in terms of revenue, for sure, and also the popularity of the Japanese server was very high. However, the game did not have a native Chinese server. So a lot of the players from China, they essentially hopped over to the Japanese server, right? Because they don't have a dedicated server. And once that happened, because there's enough of a demand, there are CN companies that rewrote thousands and thousands of accounts, all right? Thousands and thousands of them on the JP server. Which has caused the server to essentially overload, and that's why when we had our Helm banner, the Japanese bros could not even log in, right? They had the server just essentially lag out, polls were not happening, they would like waste tickets and not get anything, so it was extremely crazy. So to combat this, essentially the first step the NIKKE team is taking is to close the guest registration. So you cannot have, infinite guest rerolls, and that will stop, hopefully stop the CN companies from selling those accounts to people who then bind using their real contact information, right? So this was the intended purpose, right? And then what happened was, because they closed the guest registration, so none of us can use registered guests moving forward. They did say all the accounts that were registered with guests before would not be affected. However, what people don't know is that if anything happens, okay, to your game or your phone, sometimes the updates would clear your guest account, which means that if you didn't bind it to anything, it's completely gone. Okay, I've also received reports that salted emails are struggling as well. All right, it's the salted reroll method where you put the +1 +2 plus whatever. All right, that apparently has a few players banned as well, at least in my PMs that people have talked to me about. So I've been getting PMs regarding guest accounts not being able to log in, as well as the salted emails not being able to log in. So I'm here to show you a couple of things you need to do. All right, a couple of things you need to do. So first of all, make sure you collect the information about your account. So this is the first and foremost, okay? Before you even go bind anything, all right, you need to make sure you have the information. So if you guys didn't know, previously there were a huge ban wave, false ban wave happening, all right? And people were getting banned left and right. Some rightfully so, some probably were just hit by the oversensitive cheat detector. So what I did is I set up a thread in the official Discord, and you can still find it under issues. And I contacted the developers, and they asked me to get people to post servers, unique IDs, and username. I have no idea how this registered email came about, because if you saw the pinned message at the very beginning, okay, the pinned message at the very initial place, I only asked for 3 things, which was the IGN, here. Oh, I didn't even ask. Oops. I guess it just got started. But I only needed information, which is essentially your server, the unique ID, UID, which you can obtain by clicking on this portrait in your top left corner, okay, top left corner right here, and then you'll be able to see your unique ID and your name. That's it, right? Server, unique ID, and in-game name. That's enough for developers to find your account and review it manually, and there has been tons of people who got unbanned after they put it in the thread, so it's good to see that. However, going back into today's topic, grab those information so that if anything were to happen to your account, you can always have that information to retrieve it, and you'll be able to contact the developers, the help at NIKKE or something, that the email address, to get your account back. So that's the first and foremost. Second thing is, if you're using a guest account or if you're using the salted email, bind it to a third party. I've said multiple times already in my real guide, you need to bind it. Okay, so go to top right to open the setting and go to account and then bind it to something here. So let me walk you through the different choices because it actually matters. So first you have your link email, right? So this is the salted email that you're supposed to link. Bind that if you haven't already, if you're on the guest account. This is the first step. Second is choose a third party. So on Android, it's a bit different because Android has the choice of Google, has the choice of Line, I believe that's unique to Android, and Apple, you have the iOS account, all right, the Apple ID, and then you have Twitter, which is shared, and you might have a Facebook as well. I need to double check, but the choices are different. So I know for sure if you bind it with Google, you cannot use Google to sign into the Apple one, and you cannot use the Apple iOS one to sign into the Google one. However, the linked email, which is the salted one, allows you to sign into both. All right, so for me, I didn't bind the third party yet, which I'll do right now. Okay, it's very, very important you do that, because as we know, a lot of times those linked emails in the games database is not safe. It's not that safe. So you definitely want a third party, ideally Google with like a two-factor authentication to make sure it's completely safe. And make sure that you check if you have both iOS and Android, you check which ones are shared, which logins for the third party accounts are shared, so you can log into both. Okay, so once you link the email, once you link the third party, then you make sure that your account is safe. All right, I think that's super important because again, I've received PMs regarding guest accounts getting wiped, regarding logins getting wiped that are not linked to third party. So please do that. All right, okay, don't forget. All right, this is super key because I can't help you with individual requests. I'm not the support team for the developers, which just by sheer luck that the developers knew about this problem as I was talking to them about it, and then they let me open a thread for them to essentially review them manually with priority. Okay, so anyhow, it's TimaeuSS here. Expect more regular Nikkei content coming up. I think I'll make one video every day or every other day because there's not a lot to talk about as we're entering this kind of laid back chill period, right? All the other guys have been written already, so I need to really think about what to make content wise. And if you have anything you want to specifically look at, let me know. I'm always happy to take suggestions. And yeah, it's good to be back, but I'm back at work too, so it's gonna be busy from that regard. But anyhow, it's TimaeuSS here, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye now.